We have relied on underground oil and uranium to fuel our homes and power our cities in the last century, but this is still a finite resource that won't last forever. There is a way to power your home without tapping into the earth through sustainable energy. Here's a look at some of the most common energy sources used today. As a significant contributor to CO2 emission, coal is by far the worst environmental offender and one of the most important contributors to the problem of global warming. Burning coal pollutes the air and exposes people to health risks like black lung disease, cancer, and respiratory diseases. If a power plant installs pollution control equipment, it only produces toxic sludge that poisons groundwater. Nuclear energy sources like uranium are just as dirty as fossil fuels. It's a fact that nuclear energy has its dangers due to the radioactive waste it produces. After all, Chernobyl and Fukushima both demonstrate how devastating a nuclear accident can be, even without a meltdown. While coal and oil seem less expensive now, they aren't sustainable energy sources. Fossil fuels will one day run out, and we'll be left with nothing. That's why people are starting to invest in renewable, sustainable energy sources like solar, wind, hydrogen, and biofuels. These new technologies not only help you save money today but also help protect future generations from the harmful effects of climate change. Alternative energy sources are a great way to decrease our carbon footprint. However, there are two main categories of alternative energy sources: growable and non-growable. Traditionally, we used firewood to create energy. However, as trees are a finite resource, firewood is not sustainable, and it's also bad for the environment because of the smoke. Modern bioenergy technologies use biomass, organic matter like crops, grasses, and trees. Studies have shown that the production of biofuels is a risky endeavor that could potentially put a strain on global food prices. In countries like the United States, where half of our agricultural land is used to grow corn for biofuels, this can be especially damaging. Alternative energy sources fall into two broad categories: renewable sources, which are not depleted and include solar, wind, hydroelectric, geothermal, and biomass power, and non-renewable sources, including fossil fuels. Although solar energy may be the future, it's a severe problem. Hydropower isn't perfect. It triggers international conflict and damages ecosystems since it often requires the destruction of trees and other plant matter. That's because rivers run hot. Manufacturing solar cells produces high levels of greenhouse gases. Across borders, the Congo, Nile, Rhine, and Niger rivers flow through 10 countries each. When one nation builds a dam to generate hydropower, downstream countries may suffer a water shortage and hunger. On the bright side, hydropower is sustainable and natural. Today, it generates nearly 15% of the world's electricity, clean, efficient, and responsible. Alternative energy sources may seem like a good idea, but the equipment required for some of them is anything but environmentally friendly. In the past, scientists have attempted to produce hydrogen from solar power, but the results have been frustrating. Trillions of joules of energy go into each production. It is uneconomical, and the infrastructure for hydrogen supply is still not in place. That's why creating hydrogen fuel in a lab is not as efficient as it seems on the surface. In 1994, scientists made a solar-powered system that could produce just 1 gallon of gasoline per day, which would take 10 hours to complete. Wind energy is a great way to produce power, but certain limitations must be considered. Wind turbines are not 100% renewable. They require a significant amount of energy and resources to make. This includes the materials needed to construct the turbines themselves and the fuel for transporting these materials to the construction site. In addition, wind turbines must be maintained and operated by humans who require food and shelter.